We're good. So what the hell is wrong with this? This is weird. I know you guys can't see it, but I've noticed that Canva is doing this like weird thing where every time I like have the words, it like almost glitches. No, it is not working. That's so weird. Okay, we're going to do it this way. Not a problem. All right, let me share my screen now. Yeah, it does like this weird thing where like this doesn't make sense. And I noticed it like two calls ago and I was like, wait, maybe I messed up. But now I'm noticing it all the time. Like, what is happening here? That's definitely not it. Anyways, I'm going to have to share the whole thing here, which shouldn't be a problem, but it's not as cute, but it's fine. So today we're talking about how we can become more productive, but yet maintain peace throughout this fitness journey. So this was actually a requested call and a recurring thing that we've been noticing. It's piecing all of the things together. And one of the most difficult ones right now is the steps one. So if you feel like steps is a struggle, I promise steps is a struggle across the board all of the time. Like my girls that live in like winter months, that those kind of hit, I know steps are a struggle. Like those are almost like the hardest part about this journey, and we want to just make sure that we're piecing all of those together. Like yes, we have to do training and your nutrition and your steps, but you have work and you want a social life, and how can we get all of these together, right? That's what we're going to talk about today. So ideally a day in a life of a productive and peaceful fit chick, aka getting your shit done. Yay. So one, you may feel like you have a lot going on each day and potentially getting maxed out, burnt out, wanting to be more productive, yet wanting to be more at peace. This is personally something that I am still working on. I made a story yesterday. I don't know if you saw it, but I talked about like my boss bitch energy and my soft girl energy. They clash. And in the past, I've had one take over, and then obviously that leads to burnout, or the soft girl energy takes over too much and then I'm not doing the things that I need to do. And really in the past couple of years, I've really been working on how can they meet together, and still I'm noticing that it's a work in progress, right? Because we have goals, but we also want to maintain our life. So we are going to go through a three category day today. We're going to talk about the hardest part about Project Fit Chick, and we are going to get a chance for you to become more present and have more me time. So the obvious part is that you have a lot going on. But what we don't want to fall into, and I've said this many, many times before, is the pity party queen. Pity party queen is like, oh my God, Nicole, I have so much to do. Like, I can't get my steps. And it's just like, I can't because things happen. Or maybe you had everything perfectly planned out and something got in the way. And again, we go into like this pity party mood. Instead of that, we want to start stepping into problem solver. And the moment that you put yourself as I am a problem solver, you are going to get better at pivoting. You are going to get better at getting your schedule done, at making sure that you're not losing your mind. Just because you know, okay, this happened to me today, or this happened to my schedule, okay, I'm a problem solver, so let me step back, let me regroup, let me fix this. Or I haven't been hitting my steps or my water or my workouts, whatever. I'm a problem solver. Let me make sure that I fix this problem. And we want to step into what is, ooh, this is too big, your boss woman energy, right? Getting your shit done, maintaining your peace. And with this comes trusting yourself and having boundaries. And of course, understanding that you are abundant and you can achieve all of your goals. So again, this is a mindset. You have a lot to do. And if you continue to keep this mindset, I'm abundant, I can achieve my goals, I am productive, I trust myself to get my things done, I have boundaries, that's exactly who you will become. So when it comes to getting more shit done, You don't have to live in hustle culture, right? We don't have to be people that are constantly like doing, work harder, sleep less. Like I have a mentor, I think he works like 5 hours, and I'm like, well, great. I have hormones that I have to pay attention to. I would never be able to do that, but I absolutely love that for you. And there are people that really don't sleep that much, and they're constantly on the grind. They work out 6, 7 times a week. We don't necessarily have to live in that, right? We can get more shit done, but while we're doing this, it can actually bring us more peace rather than overwhelm. I like to think structure is freedom. So the more I structure my day, and some people are like, oh my God, that's a lot. Like, I don't know, why do you do so much? Or isn't that so overwhelming? I actually think the more that I do and I have structured and I have systems, the less that I am overwhelmed. And the more that I do will bring more confidence and bring more trust in myself. Now, another thing is if you have a lot to do, we also have to stop looking at it as a bad thing. We by now are adults. You've been doing this for a long time. You've had a job. Some of you have kids, right? You have a lot to do. But the moment that you start looking at having a lot to do as a bad thing, then that is when you will stop doing working out, eating, going for your steps, because having a packed schedule is negative in your life rather than having a packed schedule is actually something that makes sure that you're working in so many different goals in so many different areas of your life. We had a call a little, actually a long while ago that was more so on like burnout. So ideally, this call is so that we don't get burnt out and that we are structured. But if you are in the point where you're feeling burnt out, right, what we want to do in that case, or if you feel like right now you have a lot to do, we wanted to make sure that we are understanding number one, what it is stressing me out. So in this case, number one, what are all of the things that I need to get done? Now, sometimes when we have a lot of things to do and we also have things stressing us out, there are things in our life that are out of our control that still weigh down on us. And those are the things that we need to release. For example, if you are looking for a job right now and you have set that you are going to apply to jobs every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 6 p.m. But in that time, you also have to wait for these jobs to come back to you. If you're sitting there every day and you're stressed about the fact that, like, I have to, like, when are they going to come back to me? Like, I need to get a job, and you're like constantly stressed. That part, you did your part. The next part is out of your control, right? So, whether it be family stress or any type of stress that you cannot physically control, we have to write it down and we have to know that we can release that. Now, number two, of the things that you can control, of the things that you are stressing that are stressing you out, now we have to ask ourselves, when will that get done? Right? And where we bring in structure is freedom. So today we're going to talk about a 3 category day. Along this, I also want to mention that balance is not balanced. For example, where we talk about like balance, I feel I have a lot of balance when it comes to my food, but I'm also not eating out as much as I'm eating in. I'm also not eating as many like carbs. Well, actually, I'm eating more carbs than I am protein. Well, I prioritize protein way more than I have to prioritize my carbs, right? Your balance does not have to be balanced in order for it to feel that way. So, what we're going to look at is your day in 3 different categories. If you're struggling to get anything done or all of these things done, how can we become more intentional? So we have number one, which are your deadline non-negotiables. So these are things like work, school, schedule, appointments, certain events, things that you really need to get to, right? These are things that like you have to clock in, you have to clock out. You have to be at your meeting at 4 p.m. You have an appointment at 6 p.m. Like you have these certain time blocks that you have to go to. So these are number one that should go into your schedule. Number two is your higher self non-negotiables. This is your workouts, your walks, your meal prep, your journaling, your planning, your self-development, your daily self-care. Maybe you're working on a new business. These are things that come next. And these are almost as important as your deadline non-negotiables. The difference is the deadline non-negotiables obviously have a very, very strict time where if you wanted to work out at 5 a.m. or 5 p.m., technically it doesn't matter as long as you're getting it done. But they're equally as important. And then lastly, we have our free time slash our giving time. So this is time with our partner, friends, family, maybe your TV shows, your hobbies, or just doing things. Like I feel like I have chores around the house all the time. Like I always have something to do. I have the meal prep, I have to do laundry, like doing things in general. The issue that we run into is that we put this in our schedule, which is work and school and all of the things. And then we trickle into these things here. And then we skip out on this here. Maybe not on all of them, but maybe you are skipping out on your journaling, or maybe you are skipping out on your self-care. And then you're saying, oh, but I need to show up to my family. I need to show up to that thing. I need to wash dishes, or like I need to do XYZ. And you didn't get your steps in. So now we're feeling a lack of alignment with our goals, right? And we are also giving to other people without giving to ourselves. And what does that mean? You're just giving to other people with an empty cup. So now that we have these three categories, right? I want you to write them down on a piece of paper. So what are the things that you have to get done? Write it down. Your deadline non-negotiables. What are your higher self non-negotiables? You can screenshot this. I can send this to you guys if you want, by the way. And then what are your free time non-negotiables, right? Write this all down. If you like to watch TV, great. Like, I just binged a TV show the other day, but I'm not going to binge the TV show before I get my steps and my walks and like all the things, right? So, if you like to do these things, that's fine, but you're going to find that you have more time for this if you are structured with this. So, I want to show you how I like to work my productive yet peaceful schedule. And again, sometimes some people might, I remember when I first started posting about this, people were like, oh my God, you schedule your day this much, like this is crazy. But yes, however, I managed to get a lot of things done because of that. So when we look at our schedule, this is just an example. I've done it on a spreadsheet. I've done it on a Google Calendar. I've done it on a piece of paper. Now I do it on a Google Calendar. But what we want to look at is when you have your deadline non-negotiables, right? Put them here and those go into your calendar first. So when I'm making my calendar, I know that I'm working from 9:15 to about 5:15, right? So this part here is in my deadline non-negotiables. If I had, for whatever reason, an appointment at 6, I make sure that that's filled out. In this case, it would be yellow. Now, my higher self non-negotiables, these are the things that go into the calendar next before anything else. So you might even feel like, damn, I go from one task to another, one task to another, one task to another. Again, that's not a bad thing. So we want to think, when are we getting our workouts in? When are we getting our walks in? If your walks are not scheduled, then they will be easily missed, especially if you don't have a particular routine just yet. Oh, I have to actually fix this color. It's bothering me. There we go. So I have my workout. I have to walk to the gym. I have to walk home. So that makes my steps a little bit easier. My workouts, my walks go here, and then my walks are here. I know that if I walk these 3 times in a day, I will hit my schedule, or I will hit my steps. If I don't walk at this time, for example, on Tuesdays, I don't walk before the calls, I walk after, then my schedule will pivot, right? Number 2 is the times that we eat and the times that we cook. Scheduling the times that you eat, especially around work, because what happens when work gets crazy, we forget. And we put that on the back burner, and we are not giving ourselves enough time to actually sit down and have a meal. I know some of you guys work like hybrid. Sometimes you're in the office and sometimes you're at home, and you're like, when I'm in the office, I'm like so structured and like I eat and everything gets done. And then when I'm home, I feel like I'm kind of like a mess. Well, yeah, because you have a time schedule when you're in the office, and then at home, you think you have more free time, but you're working the same amount of hours, right? So we need to make sure that that's also structured too. So I eat 8 a.m. It's a long one because I make my breakfast. It's really nice. Here I'm meal prepped, so it's a lot quicker. I just heat it up. Here I have my snack. I need to put that in, and I need to remind myself not by like 4:30. I'm getting a little hungry. And then my dinner is around here. All right. Next is your meal prep. When are you meal prepping? The more that your schedule is consistent, even if you have a varying schedule, I know some of you work like night shifts, right? Certain days of the week should relatively be consistent. But I find that it's really simple for me to have dinner and then meal prep right away, right after. Like, let me just get to it. What am I doing? What am I eating tomorrow? I'm asking myself those questions, make sure that's meal prepped. All right. Water goal for anybody that needs it. I personally don't schedule that, but if you're struggling to hit your water, obviously schedule it. Now, next is going to come all of the other things that you want to do. So if you want to read more, right? Let's say that's a thing for you. If you want to read more, you look at your schedule, you're like, oh, wow, I actually have like free time here and I have free time like all of here, right? But you have that free time because you came home from a walk, you had dinner, and you meal prepped right away. And those things were super quick, right? And you bang those out like a checklist, and everything had their time block, right? Also, if you want to spend time with your family, you spend time with them and you can freely feel like you can spend time with them between 7:30 to 9:30 because you went for your walks, because you prioritize yourself, because you got your workouts in, and you're not spending time with them thinking like, fuck, I still didn't get XYZ done. And that's when we get into not hitting your goals. And obviously that snowballs into many and many other things, right? But the reason that I want you to spend some time to really write out your schedule is so that you can see the open parts of your schedule. So if I'm thinking, I want to journal in the morning. Okay, I need to wake up 15 minutes earlier. Boom, it's much easier because I can see it. It's visual and or I can visualize it and it's planned, right? Sometimes you guys are like, yeah, I'm gonna go to the gym at 7 o'clock. And I'm like, okay, cool. What time are you gonna wake up? 6:30. I'm like, how are you gonna open your eyes and get into your car and drive there? And now you're in a rush. What if you woke up 20 minutes earlier, gave yourself more time? What if your shoelace breaks and you have to walk back inside and fix your shoelace? Like, don't be in a rush all the time. Actually, give yourself time. But for everybody that I've worked through this schedule, like anybody who's been struggling with their schedule, as soon as you write it down, you are going to notice you actually have a lot more free time than you think, even if it's just an hour or two. That's considered free time, right? That's considered giving time. All right. Now, this is a skill. The reason I say it's a skill because when I first started scheduling my day, I wouldn't even give myself time to pee. And then I'm late, right? So if at first you write out your schedule and it's too rigid, like you gave yourself 7 or 8 to 9 to like, or sorry, 8:30 to 9, because you're like, yeah, I can eat in 15 minutes and then I can shower in 15 minutes. And then you realize, like, no, I cannot do that. Do not go like, oh, this doesn't work. I can't schedule. Now I'm at it. Like we go again into pity party. Instead, let me fix my schedule and let me try to optimize so that I can get better at this skill. Now I know I actually need another 15 minutes for my breakfast because I eat really slow, or I take a little bit to unwind when I get home from the gym. This is a skill. Now, what's needed for you in this journey? Obviously, that's going to be the important part of this. So we want to think of Project Victric as 4 different things that you have to get done on a day-to-day. Number 1 is your workouts. 2 is your walks. 3 is your meal prep. And 4 is journaling and planning. And I don't put water in there because that one's usually like we can get it within like the first month or so. Now, this is where we win. Because if this is done, these get done. But if you're not planning out your day, if you're not journaling, it takes 10 minutes to journal. I did it with my bro, like gym head brother. And he's like, how do you do this? How do you journal? And I planned out every single hour. Again, he said, that's crazy. You plan out every single hour of your day. And I'm like, watch how calm you are tomorrow and watch how much stuff you get done. And exactly that. He's like, wow, I never realized. Like, it was just this realization, right? But because of that, he was able to get his workouts. He was able to get his walks in. He got his meals in. He was on time to his interview. Like, he did all of the things, which is a goal that we were working on last week, right? So that's where we want to get into. Now, the hardest part, I would say, I say steps is the hardest part because I think that's the hardest part for me. But nutrition is usually the hardest part. The question of what am I eating tomorrow, that needs to also go into your schedule. So for me, I plan out, I have a meal prep that's like super basic. Sundays, Tuesdays, sometimes like Sundays and then, oh no, Saturdays and then midweek is usually our meal prep days, right? But where I personally plan out my meals is in my winding down time, right? So here, where you see my nighttime routine. My nighttime routine consists of brushing my teeth, putting things together. I wish I was asleep by like 9:30. I would lie. I'm definitely asleep more like here, but I'm working on it. Anyways, in this time, that's where I journal. And I made a goal for myself that I can't journal, which is something that I like to do, and I can't play with my little mental health app, which I absolutely love, and I've been talking about it for like 4 months already. I can't do those things unless I track my calories. So the thing that I like at the end of my day and the hardest part of my journey, I have to pair them together. I had this conversation 2 weeks ago with Carolyn. I was like, what's the one thing that you like to do every single day? She likes to watch your show. You're not allowed to put that show on unless you track your calories. Boom, done. Did you do it?
Yeah. It actually, I was really sad. I was like, damn, I really can't watch Love Island. I have to do this first. It
Did it
worked.
work?
It worked.
There
Yeah, it
we
worked.
go. It works. So that hardest part for you, which is usually the planning, or which is usually maybe like your steps in that case, pair it together with something that you really enjoy. So you get that reward by doing X thing. For me, it's tracking my calories, right? So every single night we've talked about this. Oops, many times before. What am I eating tomorrow? Meal one, meal two, meal three. If you have to meal prep them, if you have to cook them, obviously that's a different conversation. You'll do that after dinner or whenever you do that. But make sure that your calories are in every single night. Nobody should be waking up in the morning and going about their day and trying to figure out what am I gonna have? Like, how many potatoes am I having? How much protein am I having? Fuck, I'm still short of my protein. I have 400 calories left for the day. Or like, damn it, I went over. Right? Because if you put it in the day before, the next day, you're not stressed about your schedule. You're not stressed about food. You're not stressed about the grams or the numbers and things because you already did that yesterday when you were doing nothing. Right? So as long as we are doing this, your schedule goes from a craziness in your mind that feels like, fuck, I have so much to do. Yes, you do, but it becomes this. So all of those things that you had to do, now they feel more doable. Now they feel like a checklist. Now they feel exciting. Now they feel like they're manageable. Now you feel like you can trust yourself, right? And again, with this, yes, you have a lot to do, but stop looking at that as a bad thing. Just structure it. You have these things to do for a reason. You're here on this call for a reason, or watching the recording, or doing this journey. You want to get more steps for a reason. You want to get your workouts done for a reason. That is not a bad thing. That is something that is adding to your life. And planning the food part, making sure that is all in there as well. So, sorry, forgot the very, very last part. In order to get all of this done, we also have to get really good at saying no. Boundaries. Boundaries, 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 boundaries. Now, boundaries do not only come with other people, they are also within yourself. So, do you have a boundary with yourself to not watch Love Island before you track your calories? Do you have a boundary with yourself that you can't sit on the couch after work unless you go and get a 20-minute walk? That is a boundary with yourself. You're telling you, no, no couch, go. Go for a walk. That is a boundary with yourself. Now, the second thing is boundaries with other people. When I mentioned at the beginning of the call, balance is not balanced. If you want to also have a social life, yes, when you can, but also no a lot more of the time. No, I don't want to go out for drinks. I want to go to sleep earlier. No, I don't want to go to that thing because I feel like my social battery is just like not there. No to the things that are not serving you. No to your partner that maybe wants to eat out or that wants to chill out or that wants to sleep in. No to those things. And no is a complete sentence. It doesn't have to have any explanation afterwards. When you become good at saying no, you become way better at crossing things off of your list. Just because you know the things that you say yes to, you have them scheduled, you cross them off, and obviously you know the things that you're not going to do. Right, if anybody wants that spreadsheet, just message me. I can send it to you. You can play around with it. You can make a copy of it. But it's something that I did for a really, really, really long time when I've told you guys I struggled with anxiety for like honestly, sometimes I still do, but I'm just like a very anxious person. And when I have a lot to do, it just feels like a cloud over my head of all of these things that I have to do. So in order to get that cloud out, I have to put it down on paper and I have to know that I just have to go about my day. And if you go about your day and you plan this out, then there's no reason that you shouldn't get your steps done. There's no reason that you shouldn't get your workout done. There's no reason that you shouldn't get your meals done or your calories hit because they're already in your schedule. The only reason that you're missing on these things is because the system behind it is not being done right. And that is it for today. Remember that food is love and strength is power. Strength is power, and you are a girl boss. Any questions? How we feeling? Hot. Questions, comments, concerns, anything that you guys would like to share? Less stressed and ready to use this method. Love that. Structure is freedom. The more that we are structured, like with your food, I know it's hard to structure your food, but do you ever like really dial in a system of meal prep and like your meals and tracking your calories, and then you're like, oh, this is so nice. And then you just sit down and have lunch and you don't really have to think about like all of the other things. Planning and organizing the day truly does help to knock things off. I started to make a list of things that I need to do. Yeah, I have like lists. I'm a list girl everywhere. Um, I also put like lists on my fridge that I've mentioned before. So I have like things that like have to get done in the house that I just kind of write them down. So I have like a grocery list, or I have like wash the sheets or mop the house. And like each day I kind of look at it. So for me, when I have free time, I'm just doing like one chore a night rather than feeling like all of the chores are piling up. And that's been super helpful. Even if it's like, oh, go to Target. I have to call Ninja because our coffee machine is not working. So like that's a task. I just write it down. Me making my protein bagels before reading my book, which is something I really want to do. Ooh, protein bagels. That sounds really good. Love that. But yeah, pair your hardest task with your most enjoyable task. As long as you do that, you're gonna have more urgency to do your hardest task. And a lot of this is obviously like the reason that I like to time block and I like to hour by hour is I almost feel like that's my alarm to do the thing. Like up 6 a.m. Gotta do the workout. Oh, 6 p.m. Gotta go for a walk. Like structuring my day like that is just like if I sit on the couch for a half hour later, I'm not gonna get things done or I'm gonna go to sleep later. Does anybody have any questions on anything other than today that you would like to share? Or something that even has worked for you? I know I talk about things that work for me and that I've seen work for you guys too, but if you have any insights, feel free to share. Going once, going twice. All right, perfect. If you guys want this lesson, please let me know. I've been there. If you want this lesson, please let me know. If you want to get the spreadsheet, let me know. I'll probably just send me a message. I will send it to you tomorrow. And yeah, I hope you guys have a beautiful night. I will see you guys next week.